Namaste, Sitaram, a pleasant good morning. Welcome to Rudraaya. I'm your host, Nisha Sharma, and Rudraaya is being brought to you with the kind compliments of Maharujadiv Mandir. And of course, the Mandir is located at 850 Tapscott Road, Unit 34 in Scarborough, with Tapscott and McNichol being our closest intersection. So we'll get straight into our pravachan for this morning. So I'd like to introduce you to our spiritual leader, Pandit Ravi Sharma. Enjoy.
Bhagwan Shri Ganapati, he's called the Lord of Multitudes. He's called as Gana. Gana itself means that our scripture speaks about the Lord, Paramatma. And from Paramatma, the Lord himself has created the Devas, that which we appease. So we perform prayer towards all Devas. We have the Lord of rain, we have Lord of water, we have Lord of wind, we have Lord of fire, we have Lord of all of it. All these are just arms or parts of the Lord. From this creation also, there was created what we call as they were called as Sura and they were called as Asura. Those who fell into bad company. And so as they fell in bad company, they were called as Asura. Then we have what we call as Yaksha, Pishash, all different descendants that has been created by the Lord. We are fortunate that we are called as Manava. Manava itself means those who have been born in this world. They won't possess any type of special power, except they will have the power which will be best amongst all, is that they will have devotion, that they can do good things and uplift themselves. And so in such manner they were called as that. It is indicated that Bhagwan Shivji, he becomes pleased when one chants Rudram. It is called Rudram Vachamakam Namasya Rudram Annivotota Ishave. It's a beautiful prayer that we recite towards the Lord. Bhagwan Narayan, he becomes most pleased when we offer prayer towards Purusuktam. It is called Sahastra Shirshaha Purushaha Sastraksaspad. Beautiful. Tama Amba Jagadamba Hirnya Varnam Harnimas Varna. And it continues. So each deity themselves, they have particular verses. Not just mantra, one mantra that we chant and we feel that that's enough. No. There are more. So all of these are chanted, especially when we make certain type of sacrifices, like this one family, they've made this sacrifice to come early and perform prayer. And so to Sri Ganapati, there's also a special prayer that is taken from Antara Veda. And so in the Antara Veda, it speaks about what we call as a Ganapati Upanishad. And anyone knows, I'm sure that somebody must know how many Upanishads we have. Anybody? 18. Anybody have a next guess? We have how much Veda? 4 Veda. How many Shastra? 6. We have how much? Puranas. Oh Lord. Like I say, I know the devotee who answered. The first question we asked, Sharavan was 100% incorrect. We asked the second question, how much Puranas? He said 108. Well, I'll give him a 0.5% for correct. Because we have 18 Puranas. Of course. We have 108 Upanishads. How many beads are there in Mala that we usually wear? 108. And so there's one that is called as a Meru bead, the big bead that ends, so that we begin back with our offering. And by the way, just a simple quick question, as we were speaking about this, we all do some japa. Whether we do it with our mala, whether we do it in our mind. But how do you do your japa? Question is asked. Anybody can tell me? We just have a question and answers. Not that I want to know how much you know. I might learn something. And I will learn something. Does everyone remember?
Yeah.
Take a thumb and you roll it, holding this finger. Everybody agree? If you're unsure, you can say, well, I'm not really sure.
And after you reach the end, you go back.
All right. This finger. So Savitri said, not on this finger. She said, on this finger.
Whichever if you comfortable, I guess.
Auntie Dolly, you're saying?
I have a bag.
Oh, you have okay, you have a japa bag.
This finger is out,
Right.
and then I do like that.
Well, you're correct. There's no wrong answer really and truly. However, thumb is called as Angushta Matra. All the fingers. When Brahma created this world, he created this world in such manner, and the name was given to all. Angushta, Tarjani, Madhyam. The last finger. Anybody know what's the Hindi name for the last finger? It is called as... Huh? Little finger? No, not pink. We're talking about Sanskrit. Last finger is called as Anamika. Anamika means no name. There was no name that was given, so it was called as Anamika. So the fingers themselves that we will worship in prayer, in puja, of course we would use thumb because we have to use it. We wouldn't be able to continue. However, finger was given towards Pitra, so we will use these towards, especially in offerings, towards the ancestors. When we're doing tarpan and we're doing pinda work, we will use these towards Devas. The middle and especially this finger Tarjani. These fingers were used in such manner that we would say in such manner, like if you want to feed, you know, Stephanie, you want to feed that little child, you don't just take it and you just push it inside your child's mouth from on top. No, you try and cook some. Come Darren, and let me feed him one by one little slice. So little finger itself was given no name, called Anamika. It's beautiful if you really explore Sanskrit language and you understand about what it says, because it tells us beautiful. Every name is given to every part. We perform our worship and we remember the directions. For sure, all forget. I think everybody forgetting the Balvihara classes when they were younger. You remember? What's the direction called? What's the four direction called? No, I ain't talking English, I'm talking Hindi. Pura Paksham Uttar Daksham.
Jai Shri Ram, Ganahittakari, Jai Jai Ram, Bhavalaya Bhanjan, Jai Shri Ram. Jai Shri Ram, Jana Mana Rangan, Jai Shri Ram. Muni Makarakshak, Jai Shri Ram, Jana Mana Rangan, Jai Shri Ram. Akhil Vishwapati, Jai Shri Ram, Raghupati Raghav, Jai Jai Ram. Hitakari, Jai Jai Ram, Bhavalaya Bhanjan, Jai Shri Ram. Mahi Dukahari, Hari Hari Ram, Gau Brahman Hitakari Ram. Mahi Dukahari, Hari Hari Ram, Gau Brahman Hitakari Ram. Sant Janan Sutakari Ram, Dashrath Nandan Jai Jai Ram. Hitakari Jai Jai Ram, Bhavalaya Bhanjan, Jai Shri Ram. Patita Udharan Raghupati Ram, Ganuja Vinashana Hari Ram. Patita Udharan Raghupati Ram, Ganuja Vinashana Hari Ram. Atkano ke tumaho praha, Jaya Raghunandan Jai Jai Ram. Hitakari Jai Jai Ram, Bhavalaya Bhanjan, Jai Shri Ram. Hitakari Jai Jai Ram, Bhavalaya Bhanjan, Jai Shri Ram, Jai Shri Ram.
My dear viewers, I hope you've enjoyed this morning's pravachans, which comes to you as blessings in the comfort of your home, especially during this time, COVID-19, when we've started a new year, and we certainly need all the prayer, all the hope in order to have a prosperous new year. So thank you again for tuning in this morning with us, and we'll get straight into a health segment with Dr. Sachin Ramkisoon.
So, as the host of the Rudraaya TV program, Health Corner segment, I've actually discussed many topics that apply to the general population, but also that applies to our specific community as well. These have ranged from very simple topics like why you should take your medications every day and not just when you think you need it, to, for anyone who watched yesterday's episode, how do you actually create a personal health record and keep with you? To the more complex, like Guillain-Barré syndrome. However, in these 140 episodes that we've done so far since we started airing the program, there's one topic that I have not discussed, and arguably, it's probably one of the most important. This topic needs a bit more of a personal touch, a more intimate discussion, to actually truly appreciate the implications. So we all know there's only two things guaranteed in life. We were all born, and we will all die. Today, we will be speaking about how we die. So we're going to do a thought exercise. I want you to think of a loved one, a family member, someone close to you. So think about this loved one, perhaps someone that came with you here today. Imagine you and your loved one are at home. When they suddenly collapse, they're on the ground and they are not responding. You call the ambulance, and they are taken away to the hospital with lights and sirens, with you following behind. Your loved one is taken into the resuscitation room, which you see here. This is what it looks like. But you are not with them. You are in the hallway next to the resuscitation room. You're alone, and you're in a panic. So the doctor comes out to update you and to speak to you. They tell you that there's no heartbeat, and your loved one is not responding. Your loved one is dying. And so, he would like to know, would your loved one have wanted chest compressions, knowing that it's going to break a lot of ribs? Would they have wanted to be electrically shocked, knowing that it's extremely painful? Would they have wanted a breathing tube to be put into their throat and into the lungs, even though the majority of people will never come off that ventilator? And they need to know the answer now. How many of you here, just by show of hands, would be able to answer that question based on what your loved one would have wanted in that situation? I see a few hands coming up. For the rest of you who did not raise your hands, that decision to do CPR, to do electrical shocks, to do intubation, now falls on your shoulders. And you can't defer this. A decision has to be made. So you may actually think that this scenario is far-fetched, that it would never happen, or rarely, if ever, happens. But as an emergency physician, I have to tell you that this exact same scenario happens at least 5 to 6 times every single day. We see a sole family member, a husband, a wife, a son, or a daughter, who are now being put into the position of actually having to answer one of the most difficult questions they can ever be asked. Did their loved one want CPR? Did they want these aggressive interventions at the end of their life? This is the most difficult question and conversation you can have with someone, and it often happens in a very busy hallway where often the person is alone with no one to speak to, and you have to provide an answer now. I've seen this scenario happen way too often.
डमरू बजाए शिव शंकर कैलाशपति युग युग सोया दीप जगाए शिव शंकर कैलाशपति। ओम नमः शिवाय ओम नमः शिवाय ओम नमः शिवाय बोलो ओम नमः शिवाय ओम नमः शिवाय ओम नमः शिवाय ओम नमः शिवाय बोलो ओम नमः शिवाय ओम नमः शिवाय हरि ओम नमः शिवाय ओम नमः शिवाय बोलो ओम नमः शिवाय ओम नमः शिवाय हरि ओम नमः शिवाय ओम नमः शिवाय बोलो ओम नमः शिवाय ओम नमः शिवाय ओम नमः शिवाय ओम नमः शिवाय बोलो ओम नमः शिवाय बोलो ओम नमः शिवाय बोलो ओम नमः शिवाय बोलो ओम नमः शिवाय।
I hope you've enjoyed this morning's health segment, and of course, as we always mention, that we thank Dr. Sachin so much for also still making the time to reach you right here on Rudraaya, even though he has had such a busy schedule over the past year and continues to do so this year. So now we'll get straight into our corporate segment, and I'd like to introduce you to Kamalji from Lotus Funeral Home as our host for the corporate segment.
Sitaram and Namaste. My name is Kamal Bardwaj, and I'm the owner of Lotus Funeral and Cremation Center in Toronto and Kitchener Funeral Homes and Crematorium in Kitchener. I am also a licensed funeral director. The changing protocols about viewing and funeral services are difficult for grieving families to endure during these difficult times. Families can still have a visitation and a funeral service with an open casket, even if the death was due to COVID. I have mentioned on previous discussions that there is a rotation of people during the hours of a visitation. In between these rotations of people, our staff sanitizes and cleans the building for each group entering. On the day of the funeral service, it is important to set up the groups of people properly. The family needs to ensure that the last group of the rotation who are performing the funeral rites also included the family members that will close the casket and help walk with the casket into the crematorium. At Lotus Funeral and Cremation Center and at Kitchener Funeral Homes and Crematorium, we operate 7 days a week and 24 hours a day. Our crematorium is located in our building, so we never have to leave our building in cold or bad weather for a cremation. Our crematorium space can have a large group of people to attend the witnessing of the cremation as well. For Hindu families, we can provide all the puja items, including fresh leaves and a havan kund. We have large halls that can accommodate large seating to smaller ones. We are also centrally located for families in the west and for families from the east. For more information, please contact me from the telephone number on the screen. Thank you for watching, and see you next week on Rudraaya. Sitaram.
Life is beautiful, but death is inevitable. I realized this when my dad passed away. So much pain, and amidst all this, the worry of arranging a funeral. Thankfully, in all this, Kamal stood by me. From the viewing to the cremation, he arranged it all at one location. Once someone is gone, they don't come back. But Lotus Funeral Home knows how to give them a respectable farewell.
Lotus Funeral Home. Life must be celebrated.
भगवान भजन करने के लिए जो प्रात समय उत जाता है भगवान भजन करने के लिए जो प्रात समय उत जाता है
viewers, we've come to the end of another segment of Rudraaya. I hope you've enjoyed this morning's segment. And of course, we thank you so much for the feedback that we've been getting. And we encourage you to send feedback, whether it's positive feedback or whether it's constructive feedback. We are always open to feedback to help us to make Rudraaya, to enhance the program, and to give you what you'd like to see on Rudraaya on Saturday morning. So thank you. And of course, our senior community, we special hello. We hope you're doing well, staying safe. And of course, we know that you tune in every Saturday morning to catch us right here on Rudraaya. We'd like to thank our kind sponsors at Maharujadip Mandir, as well as our executive producer, Gary Khan, for making Rudraaya possible. And of course, with a lot of things happening in the world, we are seeing a lot of sadness, a lot of negativity. Please remember that if the entire ocean cannot sink a ship, except if the water gets into that ship, similarly, the negativity of this world cannot impact you or affect you unless you allow it to get inside of you. So remember that, and please, continue to have hope, and we will certainly prosper in this new year, 2021. For now, I'd like you to take care of yourself. Have a blessed week, and see you right here next week on Rudraaya. Namaste.
जय 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 भागवतम जय 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 भागवतम जय 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 भागवतम जय 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 भागवत जय भागवत भगवान की आरती पतियों को पाप से तारती जय भागवत भगवान की आरती पतियों को पाप से तारती ये अमर ग्रंथ ये मुक्ति पंथ ये पंचम वेद निराला नव ज्योति जगाने वाला ओ हरि ज्ञान यही वरदान यही हरि ज्ञान यही वरदान यही जग की मंगल आरती पतियों को पाप से तारती जय भागवत भगवान की आरती पतियों को पाप से तारती गीत पावन पुनीत श्रापों को मिटाने वाला हर दर्श दिखाने वाला ओए सुख करनी है दुख हरनी सुख करनी है दुख हरनी है मधुसूदन आरती पतियों को पाप से तारती जय भागवत भगवान की आरती पतियों को पाप से तारती ये मधुर बोल जगबंद बोल सन्मार्ग दिखाने वाला बिगड़ी को बनाने वाला श्री राम यही घनश्याम यही श्री राम यही घनश्याम यही प्रभु की महिमा की आरती पतियों को पाप से तारती जय भागवत भगवान की आरती पतियों को पाप से तारती पतियों को पाप से तारती